water rising to a certain point from as many angles as we could before we submerged them so that we wouldn't have to dry Stana's hair.
We built the day around not getting her hair wet, except one time, because it's an hour and a half to dry it.
Thought you're good.
Let's get the hell out of here.
And God, Brad, excellent, thank you.
The rest is just the realism of, if you can get the actors to play that there is no way out while you're shooting, getting the rising anxiety that's driven by the water coming up. I don't care if you can get out of the car in a second or not. When the water gets up to here, and her seatbelt has held her into the seat, it still gets a little freaky when it starts going in your nose and, you know, in your mouth and all that kind of stuff.
It's a visual that has a lot of impact. I mean, you see somebody drowning and the hair is just floating around them. And there's a moment of terror and then there's a moment of surrender, which it was interesting. I thought it was kind of a neat point to play for the characters.
And cut! Oh, that's great.
The biggest challenge on these episodes for us in post-production are the visual effects.
Encore has been part of the Castle family for a long time now. They do all of our visual effects, creating a digital car that was a match for Beckett's car that went off the dock, putting it in water, and water is very difficult to recreate in a way that is convincing on film.
Once we kind of knew what we were doing based on the storyboards, we did rough animatics. It's really just a gray shaded car falling.
In the animatic, we don't have the water. It's very basic. But this gives the director an idea of what it may look like, will look like at the end. One of the big notes was the camera was static and didn't move. And something the director brought up is that if there was an actual cameraman in the water, he'd be swaying around and reacting to a car coming at him from the water.
You start with modeling the car. You need reference frames of the actual vehicle on set.
I took some real-world lighting from set, so you get the real reflections where the sun was at the moment that we did the stunt. And then as soon as the real accident happened, I immediately started taking pictures of what the damage was going to look like, because we had to reproduce that, and just send it over to the guys here just so they get an idea of what the damage is going to be like. They see the intricacies of the damage and all that so they can recreate it in their 3D world.
Once we got the animation nailed down, it was really kind of down to the fine details.
You know Nathan did that big bubble pass?
Yeah.
That's where those should go from.
Okay. Doing the bubble simulations, actually lighting and shading the car, creating the water environment.
Lighting is very, very critical in visual effects because if there's a little more shade on it, a little more shadow, then I think your realism goes up. Hopefully, you know, the end result is that the audience never steps out of the scene because something looks fake, that they're just drawn into the real drama of it. So we tried very, very hard to create a great sort of production value.
Look, we're running out of time. I need you to see if you can find that gun.
Flashlight is the first yes after a series of no's. No, 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 he can't be dead, he can't be dead, I can't be alone. Alexis can't do that, and then the flashlight is yes.
Okay. And, you know, we're playing the emotion of the moment, but I feel like we need some kind of dread pad creeping in underneath. Robert Duncan is an incredibly versatile composer. In the spotting sessions, we spend a lot of time talking about what the intent of the scene is and give him some guidance as to the emotional journey we're hoping that the audience takes.
Rob and Andrew will lay out the roadmap of what they want the audience to feel, and then it's my job to take that information back here. So right now, I've got this scene with the car plummeting into the water, and the first instruction was to just create a sense of frantic tension.
His studio feels like a combination of a music studio with all the great instruments, but all these odd things to make these odd musical sounds. He has an old piano there that's completely out of tune, and sometimes he'll just crunch the strings on the piano to get kind of a disturbing feel to it.
Quite often there's a link I find between what we're seeing on the screen and what the objects may even be made of. We're watching a car submerging. A metal percussion will fit with that image. What I like about using these organic textures is the rattle and the chaos that's inherent in the sound. I think Castle sets a high bar in terms of Andrew's writing and Rob's cinematic experience. If I can maintain that level of detail, then I'll be happy.
This door won't open.
Yeah, mine won't either.
It was really great to be able to end the first part with that kind of stunt and that physical jeopardy.
I was quite excited to have a big stunt day and to be able to create that kind of story.
I think the fans were as thrilled with the episode as we could ever hope they were.
When we get feedback like, is it next Monday yet? We know that we've done our job.
Cut, guys, cut.
Did you get any of it?